History is full of incredible events, some so strange that they sound more like fiction than reality. But these bizarre moments actually happened. Today, we're diving into some of the most shocking facts from history that you won't believe are true. Get ready to have your mind blown. 1. The Dancing Plague of 1518. Let's start with one of the strangest events in European history, the Dancing Plague of 1518. Sounds like something out of a horror movie, right? But it really happened in Strasbourg, France, where hundreds of people were stricken by an uncontrollable urge to dance. It all began when a woman named Frau Trophea started dancing in the streets for hours on end, seemingly unable to stop. Soon after, other people joined in, and it turned into a massive dancing frenzy. At its peak, over 400 people were dancing non-stop, some of them for days. But this wasn't a joyful celebration. Many of the dancers collapsed from exhaustion, and some even reportedly died from strokes or heart attacks. So what caused this bizarre phenomenon? Historians are still unsure. Some say it was mass hysteria. Others believe it could have been caused by ergot poisoning, a hallucinogenic fungus found in rye bread. Either way, it remains one of the most inexplicable events in history. Dancing Plague of 1518, mass hysteria or poisoning. 2. The Great Emu War. Next up, let's travel to Australia for an event so absurd that it's almost impossible to believe. In 1932, Australia declared war on emus. Yes, you heard that right. Emus. Narrator. In the early 1930s, farmers in Western Australia were struggling with crop damage caused by a growing emu population. The birds, about 6 feet tall, were destroying crops, and the farmers were desperate for a solution. So the government decided to take action by sending soldiers armed with machine guns to wipe out the emu menace. But things didn't go as planned. The emus were fast, surprisingly agile, and let's face it, a bit too clever for the soldiers. Despite the army's efforts, the emus scattered and outsmarted them at every turn. The soldiers managed to kill only a few hundred birds while the emu population continued to thrive. In the end, the emus won. The so-called Great Emu War lasted for months, and it's often remembered as one of the most ridiculous military failures in history. But it did prove one thing: never underestimate the power of an emu. The Emu War, the battle Australia lost. 3. The Cadaver Synod. Moving on to another shocking chapter in history, the Cadaver Synod of 897. It's a tale of politics, revenge, and a dead pope. Yes, a dead pope. In 897, Pope Stephen VI ordered the exhumation of the body of his predecessor, Pope Formosus, who had died years earlier. But the dead pope wasn't left in peace. Stephen had Formosus's body propped up in a chair and put on trial. This gruesome event, known as the Cadaver Synod, was a bizarre act of vengeance. Pope Stephen VI accused the deceased Formosus of perjury and having held the papacy illegally. The court found Formosus guilty, and his body was stripped of its papal vestments, with 3 fingers of his right hand being chopped off. Needless to say, the trial didn't sit well with the public. Shortly after, Pope Stephen VI was imprisoned, and his papacy was overthrown. Formosus, despite being dead, had the last laugh. It's one of the most outrageous chapters in church history, and it raises the question: what kind of revenge is too far? The Cadaver Synod, when a pope was tried after death. 4. The defenestrations of Prague. Now let's head to Prague, where a couple of defenestrations, yes, throwing people out of windows, became the spark for major historical events. The first defenestration took place in 1419, when a group of Hussite protesters threw 7 members of the city council out of a window, sparking a series of religious wars. But that wasn't the end of Prague's history with windows. In 1618, another group of Protestants threw 2 Catholic officials out of a window, starting the 30 Years' War, one of the deadliest conflicts in European history. Narrator. Both of these defenestrations marked turning points in European history. Who knew that one act of throwing people out of windows could change the course of history so dramatically? The defenestrations of Prague, a deadly fall from power. History is full of strange events that don't always make sense, but that's what makes it so fascinating. From dancing plagues to wars with emus, These bizarre moments remind us that reality is sometimes stranger than fiction. If you enjoyed these shocking facts from history, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more mind-blowing content, and share this video with your friends so they can be as amazed as you were. Until next time, stay curious. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.